Welcome to your personalized deep dive.
Ooh,
Today,
that sounds exciting.
we're going to be exploring the world of English numbers
Yeah.
through a really interesting lens.
Yeah.
It's a YouTube video by teacher Rayner where she's giving uh, a live English lesson
Oh, wow.
to Spanish speakers.
Wow.
And you might think, numbers.
Right.
I know numbers.
Yeah.
But trust me, there are some hidden depths
I
here
believe it.
that can actually change how you hear and speak English.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I found fascinating was
Yeah.
how teacher Rayner tackles this this problem that lots of English learners face,
Oh, yeah.
which is, telling the difference between teens and tens when they're spoken aloud.
Yeah.
I'm like teen versus 30.
Yes, common mistake.
Yeah.
But she doesn't just point it out.
Wow.
She gives this great tip about how the emphasis changes the sound.
Okay.
So teens stress the second syllable.
While tens hit hard on the first.
Oh, that's interesting.
So it's subtle,
yeah.
but it makes all the difference.
It really does, yeah.
Like, think about it, 13 versus 30.
Totally, yeah.
And if we get those mixed up, things could get pretty confusing.
Yeah, especially if we're talking about
Right.
like $13 versus $30.
Exactly. And suddenly those
Gross.
subtle sounds have real-world consequences.
Totally.
And this is where I think teacher Rayner's approach really shines.
Mhm.
She takes these seemingly
Yeah.
small points of pronunciation
Right.
and shows how they have a huge impact on
Yeah.
clear communication.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love how she gives the example of 15 minutes. We
Oh.
never say 15 minutes for a
Right,
break.
right.
It's always 15.
Exactly.
And it makes you realize how much we rely on these
Yeah.
tiny pronunciation cues
Totally.
without even thinking about it.
It's so true. Yeah. And this is where things get really interesting for me.
Okay.
When she starts talking about large numbers,
Okay.
she gives this fantastic tip about using and as a pause.
Interesting.
Like instead of saying 301,000
Right.
all in one go,
Right.
you break it down as 300 and ND 1000.
Correct.
It's like giving your brain a little break.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Especially if you're not a native English speaker.
Yes.
I imagine that would be
Exactly.
really helpful. Yeah.
It's so much easier to process.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And what's clever is that it mimics the way
Yeah.
we often naturally pause when speaking.
Totally.
It's not just about making the numbers easier to say, it's about making them easier to understand.
Exactly. Yeah.
And speaking of understanding,
Okay.
get this.
Okay.
Teacher Rayner has this exercise where she plays recordings of 15 people
Wow.
saying their phone numbers,
Right.
and you have to write them down.
Wow. That's,
Talk about real-world application.
yeah. It's like a real world,
Right.
like a test. Yeah.
And it highlights something crucial
Yeah.
about spoken numbers.
Mm-hmm.
They often have their own
Oh,
unique rhythm and flow.
absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Some digits are grouped together,
Uh-huh.
others are emphasized.
Yeah.
It's almost like deciphering a code.
That's true.
And let me tell you,
Yeah.
some of those speakers were fast talkers.
Oh, I bet.
But that's the beauty of it.
Right.
You can pause, rewind, really listen closely
Yeah.
to those individual sounds
That's great.
and how they come together
Yeah.
to form the complete number.
That's really neat.
It made me think about how we subconsciously pick up on these patterns
Yeah.
as native speakers.
Totally.
But for someone learning English,
yeah.
this kind of exercise could be a game changer.
Absolutely.
It's like shining a light on those hidden rules. It's the spoken language.
Yeah. That we often take for granted.
Totally. Yeah.
And beyond the actual content, I have to mention teacher Rayner's teaching style.
Okay.
She's so energetic
Okay.
and supportive,
That's great.
calling her students Chicos,
Oh,
giving them pep talks,
Yeah.
celebrating their wins.
that's great. Yeah.
It's clear she genuinely cares about her students and their progress.
Yeah.
And it creates this really positive and encouraging learning environment.
That's awesome. Yeah.
You can tell her students feel comfortable
Yeah.
asking questions,
Yeah.
making mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Which is so important
Makes
if you're learning
understand.
something new. Yeah, totally.
And what's interesting to me is that this dynamic goes beyond just learning numbers. It offers a glimpse
Yeah.
into a broader language learning community.
Okay.
One that's supportive,
Yeah.
fun,
Mhm.
and focused on celebrating each other's successes.
I love that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like she's showing that learning English can be enjoyable and rewarding,
Totally.
not just a chore.
Absolutely.
And speaking of going further,
Okay.
Teacher Rayner mentions she has other resources available,
Oh, wow.
like a textbook, a VIP membership, and even classes for different age groups.
That's amazing.
And it made me think about how this deep dive is just a starting point.
Right.
What else
Yeah.
could we learn from her
Yeah. I love that.
if we really dove into her channel?
Exciting to think about. Yeah.
It shows that even a topic
Uh-huh.
as seemingly simple as numbers
Right.
can open a door to
Right.
a much wider world of
Yeah.
learning and discovery.
It's true.
And that's one of the things I love about these deep dives.
Yeah.
You never know where they're going to lead.
It's true.
Right.
So what really stands out to you so far?
Yeah.
Anything in particular
Mm,
that sparked your curiosity?
well, for
Yeah.
me, is the way she highlights the importance of context,
Uh-huh.
like with the phone number exercise.
Right.
Suddenly, those subtle pronunciation differences
Yeah.
become super important
Right.
because you need to catch every digit.
You can't miss a single one. Yeah.
And it made me think about
Oh.
those learning paths she mentioned.
Yeah.
The textbook, the VIP membership.
Right. Right.
Yeah, what about those?
Yeah. Those sound interesting.
They sound interesting, but
Yeah.
I'm curious what kind of learner would
Yeah.
really benefit from them?
Well, the textbook, I imagine, is ideal for someone who thrives on structure
Yeah.
and wants a step-by-step approach.
Hmm.
It probably lays out like all the rules,
Yeah.
patterns of English numbers
Okay.
in a very methodical way.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And what about the VIP membership? That
Yeah.
sounds a bit more
A little bit more
exclusive.
exclusive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I imagine it's for someone
Yeah.
who wants to go beyond the basics.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe access exclusive content, join a community of other learners,
Yeah.
get more personalized feedback.
So different strokes for different folks,
Absolutely.
which is great.
Yeah.
Because not everyone learns the same way.
Right.
Exactly.
It really highlights how learning is a journey, not a destination.
Yes.
There's always another level to reach,
Yeah.
another nuance to uncover.
Which brings me to something I realized
Okay.
while watching this video.
Hmm.
As a native English speaker,
Yeah.
I kind of take for granted how much I rely on those subtle pronunciation cues.
Right.
When I hear numbers,
Yeah,
it's like second nature.
totally. It's easy to forget
Yeah.
that those patterns,
Yeah.
that code, as
Yeah.
you called it earlier,
Yes.
isn't obvious to everyone.
Exactly.
But for language learners,
Hmm.
becoming attuned to those subtleties
Yeah.
is crucial
It's crucial.
for fluency.
It's like they're learning to see the matrix.
Yes.
And it makes me appreciate the dedication and effort
Yeah.
it takes to master a new language.
Absolutely. It makes you realize
Yeah.
how important it is to be patient
Yes.
and encouraging
Yes.
with those who are learning English.
Exactly. Every little step forward is a victory.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And thinking about it more broadly,
Yeah.
being able to communicate clearly with numbers
Uh-huh.
is essential in today's world.
It is.
Whether it's for business, travel, or just connecting with people from different cultures.
It's true. Yeah.
We use numbers constantly,
We do.
often without even realizing it.
Yeah, that's true.
Prices, quantities, dates, times,
Yeah.
they're everywhere.
They are.
And if you're in a multilingual setting,
Yeah.
those seemingly simple numerical expressions
Hmm.
can become real stumbling blocks
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
we're not careful.
It makes you really appreciate this deep dive, honestly.
Yeah.
It's given me a new appreciation
Mm.
for the complexities of numbers in English.
Yeah.
And how something we might think is straightforward
Right.
actually has so many layers.
It's like peeling back an onion.
Oh, I love that.
And there's always another layer underneath the waiting
Yeah.
to be discovered.
That's a great analogy.
So switching gears a bit,
Okay.
what stood out to you most from this deep dive? Was there a particular
Yeah.
aha moment that you found especially insightful?
You know, for me, it was
Yeah.
Teacher Rayner's emphasis on practice and repetition.
Okay.
It's not enough to just
Yeah.
understand the concepts. We have to
Yeah.
actively engage with the language and
Mhm.
put it into practice.
It's like learning a musical instrument.
Yeah.
You can read all the theory books you want,
Right.
but until you pick up the instrument
Yeah.
and start playing,
Right. You're not going to truly
yeah,
master
you're
it.
not going to truly master it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the same applies to language learning.
Totally.
The more we immerse ourselves in it, the more those nuances. Right.
And patterns become ingrained in our minds.
I agree.
So what are some ways people can practice their English number skills? Aside from watching Teacher Rayner's videos, of course.
Well, there are so many options.
Yeah.
You could listen to podcasts,
Mm-hmm.
watch movies,
Okay.
have conversations with native speakers.
And it's all about,
Yeah.
finding those opportunities to engage with the language
Right.
in a way that feels natural and enjoyable.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think
Yes,
that's
that's a key takeaway, I think,
a key takeaway from this deep dive.
from this whole thing, yeah.
We started with a simple YouTube video about numbers.
I know, right?
And look where we ended up,
It's amazing.
talking about the nuances of language,
Yeah.
the importance of practice,
Mm.
and the joy of lifelong learning.
It's true, and I think that's really
Yeah.
a testament to Teacher Rayner's skill
Yes.
as an educator.
She makes learning feel accessible
Yeah.
and exciting.
Yeah, she makes it fun. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So to wrap things up,
Okay.
let's leave you with a little challenge.
Okay, I like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
The next time you're listening to someone speak English,
Mm-hmm.
pay close attention
Okay.
to how they pronounce numbers.
Go.
See if you can pick up on those subtle differences
Okay.
between teens and tens,
Right.
or how they use and to break down larger numbers.
Those are my favorite parts.
And yeah, you might even notice patterns you weren't aware of before.
That would be cool.
Yeah, it's like a
Look at
little
it.
listening game
Yeah. I like it.
that can make you more attuned
Yeah.
to the intricacies
It makes you more
of
aware.
our language.
Yeah, for sure.
And who knows?
Yeah.
It might even inspire you to explore language learning further.
That's true.
There's a whole world of fascinating discoveries waiting out there.
There is.
So if this deep dive has sparked your interest,
Uh-huh.
why not check out Teacher Rayner's channel
I think I will.
and see what other gems you can uncover?
Awesome. Well, this was really fun.
Yeah, this was great. I really enjoyed this deep dive.
Yeah, me too.
Thanks for joining me.
Of course. Thanks for having me.